Hi, thank you for choosing the video if it's your first time, and welcome back if it isn't. Subscribe. This video is going to show you about the dark side of crime that I don't show you in the music videos. Yeah, it's a story of a man that's father was in jail, he was in jail, yeah, and then his son ended up going in jail. And he's going to talk about like what you miss out when you're in jail.
Your mother died in prison and you couldn't go to the funeral.
Right, they denied me.
Yeah.
The superintendent of the facility said that he feels that I'm too violent and I'm a security risk for to be let to go to the funeral.
Yeah. I mean, was that the hardest thing you think you went through while locked up?
That was the worst.
Can you imagine that? Yeah. Your mother's elderly, she's sick, yeah, and you can't be with her because of your own intentional actions, yeah. Whether that was because you're a gang member and you're in jail for violence, or you're a criminal and you're in jail for theft or robbery, yeah. Because of your intentional actions, you can't be there with your mother when she would want you there the most, yeah. But due to your 100% your own actions, yeah, you can't be with her, yeah.
The thing is that I was never there for my kids because I got my son. I left him out here, so that was one of the worst things too. Not being there for my son.
You can hear the pain in his voice. You can see it in his eyes, and you can hear it in his voice. You know, and this is obviously someone who's been in crime and violence and this and so forth. Worse would be stabbed, shot people. But you can hear the pain. Like, it don't matter how hench you are. It doesn't matter how many people you stabbed or shot or this, that, and the other. You're helpless. When you're a father and you're in jail, yeah. Imagine this. It doesn't last like you could have big shoulders. You could have you could be strong. You could be tough. You could be a leader of a gang. But you're helpless. All this bad man and rude boy, you know. But even you can hear in this guy's voice, he's helpless. He might have rep. He might have power. He might be able to get people stabbed. Order people to stab people like that. Shoot. You know what I'm saying? Rush people like that. He might be able to end people's lives by telling lesser people in the gang to go and do stuff. But he couldn't be there for his child. Helpless. Helpless. No power, no strength, no influence. He's crying. The guy is crying. You can hear it. He's crying that he's helpless to keep to help to give his son direction. I don't think that there's many people that make people who are hardened criminals or hardened gang members in jail cry. There's not much things that can make you cry.
The thing is that I was never there for my kids because I got my son. I left him out here, so that was one of the worst things too. Not being there for my son.
Yeah. Well, because your son ended up going to prison as well, right?
Yeah, he did time. He a few times he went into jail. He did time in prison. But that's not the life. I always tell him that's not the life I want for him, you know. But he been to prison a couple of times.
There's no amount of money, there's no amount of jewelry, there's no amount of women, there's no amount of fun, yeah, that can take away the regret. If you have a conscience, and a heart, that can take away the guilt I don't care if he's got reputation. I don't care if he's a gang leader. I don't care if he's got fame. The guilt of making your son go to jail. Yeah, your son go to jail. Yeah, and him following in your footsteps. Yeah. No matter how much money you make, no matter how big your name is, no matter how much reputation you got, that guilt of you, of your son following your footsteps and going to jail, nothing is worth that. Nothing is worth that. Nothing. £1 million, a mansion, nothing's worth it, as you can see.
Well, because your son ended up going to prison as well, right?
Yeah, he did time. He a few times he went into jail. He did time in prison. But that's not the life. I always told him that's not the life I want for him, you know. But he been to prison a couple of times.
I mean, what did you go through as a father? Because, you know, you're trying to do what you can to give your son guidance, but you're not there ever at all. Like you're locked up the whole time, and then before you know it, now he's following your footsteps, and now you guys are locked up at the same time in different prisons, but you can't really do anything about it. I assume it's a very helpless kind of feeling trying to go through that.
It's hard, and it brought a lot of pain to me, you know, because I never want my son to follow that life. But if you're not there, and you can't be the father structure, he gonna do what he feel like. You know what I'm saying? He gonna rebel. He gonna, you know, feel, well, I can do what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? And that was one of the hardest things for me to deal with.
What can you tell your son if you're a criminal and you're in jail and you've been in jail many times, or even if you've been once? How can you tell your child, yeah, not to steal, not to rob and stuff like that? You can say, what, you did it? Not even you did it, because you're in jail and you're telling him not to go down that path. Like, yeah, you gotta advise him, because even if you're being hypocritical, you gotta tell him not to. Yeah, but you could just say, look at you. Why should I work when you didn't work? Why should I work? Why should I work when you didn't work? Like, when you were out and you had all this expensive stuff and that, you never work, and now you're telling me that I should work and take the slow way, do things properly and correctly and so forth. But when you was outside, you wasn't taking the slow. You didn't do things properly, and now you're telling me, yeah, that I should do things slowly and this, that, and so forth.
It's hard, and it brought a lot of pain to me, you know, because I never want my son to follow that life. But if you're not there, and you can't be the father structure, he gonna do what he feel like. You know what I'm saying? He gonna rebel. He gonna, you know, feel, well, I can do what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? And that was one of the hardest things for me to deal with, because I didn't never want him to come to prison. Plus, I don't want nobody to do nothing to him because of things I done. So.
Right, and really, if you take a step back and think about it, you basically went through the exact same thing that happened with you with your dad. Here you are growing up with your dad in prison, and then you have a kid, and then you go to prison, and then once again the cycle repeats itself, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle.
Boy, man. I think this man did something like, I think it's 30, it's either 30, 40, or 50 years in jail. I can't remember, but it's some crazy amount of time in jail. And look, to everyone, this video, for anyone who's young, you know what I'm saying, who's grown up in a council estate, you know, or whatever, just watch this video. This man is done. You don't have to. Like, I know when you're young, advice just goes in one ear and out the other. Same with me. I didn't listen, I ended up going to jail. Was it I was kicked out at 15 or 16 due to my own behaviour at my mum's house, and I was homeless for about a year. I got my own place around 17, 16, and I was in jail. 16, 17, I went to jail for young offenders. This is to anyone that's thinking about getting into crime, thinking about, you know, joining a gang. Just look at this guy. Just listen to this. This video should be enough for you to know it's not worth it. You know, this guy, when he was a teenager, he most probably never thought he's going to end up doing 30, 40, 50 years in jail. Yeah, and so forth. You know, he most probably thought, I'm just going to do some crime, or I'm just going to be, just going to like chill out with my friends, or, you know what I'm saying, on the block or whatever, this, that, and the other. But he kept on, you know, getting into trouble. Bam, next thing you know, he's in jail. He got used to it. You know what I'm saying? He's institutionalized, spends a few months on the outside, come out, and then he gets a big bird. Yeah, just don't waste your time, man. It's not worth it. Look at the regret. This guy he lost at least half of his life, more than half of his life in jail. You know? If he had a fat car, it's old now. If he had jewellery, it may be worth something. But he had no life, man. Anyway, thank you for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one. See you later.